All right. Jeez. All right. So you got the underlying energy down. All right. So remember, Libra, this is typically you, but feel free to go on to the other side here. Okay. And I'll even say, you or the other person, depending on if you guys resonate with the side at all. But yeah, we got some old issues coming up here, and it's because of financial issues. It has having to do with security and feeling stable and feeling comfortable. Because honestly, it looks like you guys are not in a very comfortable place. You guys are in a very beautiful relationship though, because what brought you two together was because you guys are soulmates. This does indicate soulmate connections. This does indicate that you have a tie together that is profound. Okay. Now, outside of this reading here, soulmates don't have to mean soulmates, right? Excuse me, the lovers don't have to mean soulmates. They can mean that there is this like really profound connection that you feel between you and another person, and it doesn't have to be romantic at the same time. But because this is a soulmate investigation reading, the lovers will automatically mean soulmates to me, okay? Because I'm not reading for anybody other than a soulmate. So just to kind of clear that out, if anybody had questions or was wondering, but going into it, right, Libra or the other person, you guys are going in thinking of this relationship as the Three of Swords. This is an old issue, it's an old situation that you guys are having to deal with. And considering this is about finances and career, you're having some old issues about your finances and career, right? Your financial situation is an old issue that hasn't really gone away. And I think you're realizing from this standpoint, it's a personal issue, not really a romantic or relationship issue. It's affecting your love life in a small way because I think it's bringing out an aggressive aspect of you, and possibly the other person is coming out a little more aggressive. But it's because if there is any real aggression, it's not really because the other person is a factor in that. It's more about you and your personal stability and your independence and your confidence in yourself. It has nothing really to do with the other person. Now, how the other person sees this relationship or thinks about this relationship dynamic is the Seven of Swords. So they are having to take steps that they may not be totally comfortable taking, but because they see the risk as worth the reward, if that makes sense. Now, yeah, they just feel like they definitely stepped outside of their comfort zone, or they are stepping outside of their comfort zone. Again, this puts people on edge, considering if you're being triggered right now, you're not going to be the most friendliest, happiest person ever. You're going to try to keep your composure. You're going to try to be kind. You're going to be trying to be nice. But with that Knight of Swords, there is combativeness. There can be combativeness. There can be some people on the offense or on the defense, right? But not because they're trying to be mean, not because anybody's trying to be rude. Not saying that it's a reason to be that way or giving that kind of excuse to say, hey, if you're aggressive, that's cool, it's fine. No, it's not okay. You should not project your pains and anger towards anybody else, but it's understandably so, because we're human beings and that's what happens, right? Again, not saying that you should or that anybody should be treating you any sort of way because they're stressed or because they feel a lot of pressure or because they're in a very uncomfortable situation. It just means that, hey, understanding where this person is coming from, they're not in a situation where they're not comfortable with themselves. Okay, so that makes sense, right? So if you're being lashed out at and you're lashing out at somebody else, give yourself that time and compassion, but understand that that's not necessarily appropriate for anybody to treat you or you to treat anybody else that sort of way. But this person is definitely not in a comfortable situation. Seven of Swords is saying that they're not comfortable. They're taking a risk. I think this person sees this risk as worth the reward because we do have the lovers that brought you two together. So that is love. Love has brought you together, connecting with one another, connecting with each other, being the halves of each other that work as a whole, So like, for instance, you may be the brain and the other person may be the heart, right? Or the other person may be the brain and you be the heart, right? You guys add and contribute to the relationship in a very beautiful way. But I feel like it's a work in progress because you guys have the Knight of Swords. Either you guys are working together and fighting together, or you guys are fighting against each other right now and trying to work together. Because the situation, the challenge is the Chariot, right? Which is getting a balance, moving forward, working together to make progress. The challenge is that. So some of you guys are having a really hard time working together to make that momentum, to push forward with that. And it's not, like I said, it's going to take time, whatever this is, right? To work together, work this through, and understanding where you guys are personally to be able to work together. That's the first step, right? You're not going to be able to work together efficiently until you know where you are coming from, why you're upset, where all this is really hitting home at, because it doesn't really have anything to do with the other person. It has something to do with where you were before. It has something to do with you in the past. Now, That said, this person taking a risk right now, taking a leap of faith, they may be avoiding situations, not really acknowledging how serious the situation may be, or they may not really be acknowledging it as full on as possible. They may be avoiding some situations at the same time. But, which can understandably lead them to to believe that they have been putting in a lot of work, but they don't know where else to work at because they have been avoiding situations. At the same time, if this person is taking a risk, they're looking at the situation, trying to assess and trying to reevaluate what exactly needs to be done, what needs to be put in, what efforts do they need to put in to continue to move forward, because they're not in a situation where they're necessarily happy either. They know they've come a long way. They know that there has been a lot of work that's been put into this already. They know that there's work that needs to be put into it now and moving forward. Right now, they're not sure of what work needs to be done, or they're not sure if they really want to put in all this work, right? Because there could be avoiding, right? They could be, ignoring the situations, right? Therefore, they don't know what to do. But again, like I said, the other way around, the other way I'm reading this is that this person is taking the risks and doing everything that they feel uncomfortable doing. And they're trying to figure out what else needs to be done because, yes, they've come so far. They've worked so hard to get to this point. They're not looking to fail now. They're looking to expand. They're looking to grow. They're looking to move forward. And you're doing the same thing. You guys are very happy with the accomplishments that y'all have made. You guys are very happy with where you are at this moment. You guys see the situation as a success, and you guys are proud of where you're coming from. You're proud of how hard you've worked. Even though finances and money may be coming up as a situation for you guys, you're not letting this dictate your relationship in the sense of, of this relationship being a success or not. I feel like, you guys are both recognizing how far you've come. While you may be looking at it as a celebration, as a success, the other person's thinking of how to expand, how to move forward, what else needs to be put into it, because they're not necessarily satisfied with where you guys both are financially, but I think that they've put too much into it to say, this is not a success. I think this is something that, both of you truly want. I think this person's taking a very practical approach to it because they do have love for where you guys are, but they want to see more. They believe that there is prosperity. There's more to come out of this. There's so much more to grasp from this, right? There's potential for greatness here. And this is not where they, imagined you guys just staying at. I'm not saying that you're staying in that situation either with the Six of Wands. This is you guys recognizing the steps that you've taken and being happy about it and wanting to celebrate and just to be in the moment. But this person's thinking about the future. Think about what needs to be done further. What else needs to be taken on instead of necessarily being in the present, if that makes sense. Now, considering that you guys have the Six of Wands in your future, let's take a look as to why you guys show yourselves as successful, but have the Three of Swords here. You have heartache, you look at the situation or the relationship, and it brings up some triggering stuff, right? Triggering stuff about you and your personal life. And it's because of, like I said, stability, independence, feeling comfortable, feeling stable, right? Some of you guys may be feeling alone in your relationships right now, even though you see this relationship as a success, because it took you so long, it took a lot out of you to get to this place for some of you. Some of you guys, you may have, you may be aware of a lot of these old triggers and old things that you've, experienced and dealt with, and you're dealing with them in a positive way, but you may still feel isolated. Right? You may still feel very alone because you may not be, and because what did I just say? Right? It's like you are in the moment enjoying yourself. You are in the moment trying to enjoy where and how hard you've come to this situation, right? You're being in the moment. You're in love with right now. Even though you see this situation as a trigger for old stuff coming up, especially with your security and yourself and being independent, you're more alone in the situation, enjoying your lavish garden, enjoying where you are, even if it isn't necessarily ideal. Maybe you're alone and enjoying where you come. You're alone and enjoying your success, while the other person is taking the approach of focusing on what they want, focusing on how to continue to manifest what they desire, putting their energy toward it, focusing on what needs to be done. They're very mental about it. This person is very focused on the practical and the future, and they're not enjoying the moment. They want to be in a situation where they can enjoy the moment without stress, without anxiety, without worry, without doubt. They want to enjoy it without wanting anything more. But you're already in that position in the sense, but you're in a situation where you are financially perhaps, affected, or you feel like you're alone in the situation because you're the only person enjoying it and being in the moment with it and not focusing on what needs to be done later on. You're focusing on what is happening now and nobody's catching up. Or no, this person is like, I need to keep moving. I need to keep moving. And neither one is bad, but I do see the imbalance. I do see where both of you guys are having a struggle or struggling to see each other eye to eye. Because while someone is like, yeah, I'm great, I'm happy, I know we come a long way, this is successful, but I need to keep moving because this is not what I imagined our future to be like. This is not how I imagine us being together to be like. Well, but you're like in the moment and happy with where you guys are because that is a success in itself. The work that you put in was success in itself. Both of you guys are not wrong. Both of you guys are not at fault. But I think the financial portion of it is what's affecting your relationship because both parties are either not pushing hard enough to pushing hard enough forward, and the other person is pushing too far ahead to even at least be aware and enjoy what you guys have put in so far. It's a really interesting read and very clear, honestly. Very clear. All right. So let's see what we got going on here with the Messenger Oracle. Let's see what you guys got to wrap up this reading here. And like I said, remember the sides, right? If you're not feeling very lonely, you wanted to push ahead, then, the other side may be resonating with you. The other person may be feeling, alone and celebrating the present. And you guys may be still getting over old issues, but you guys are happy with how hard and how dedicated you guys have been working towards this place of, of having, what you want, being content. I find it so interesting that both of you guys' spiritual planes, spiritual energies, are nines. They're both nines. It's pretty awesome. And nines are I feel like they're very individual. They're very, solo. Of course, they all have something to do with the self and the person itself, right? Themselves. They're not really about anything other than the person. But the nine, if you look at numerology, nines are about leadership. Nines are the leaders of the situation. And you guys are both leading a different area in your life. One emotional, one practical, one physical. And it's interesting because while one person's approach is very practical, the other one's very emotional, and your both spiritual energies are opposing or that, right? Show the opposite, stability and emotional. So, well, like I said, while one person's acting practical, their spiritual is coming from a very emotional place. While the other, and then the other is coming, acting very emotional, very in the moment, not very practical, not very, materialistic. It's coming from a very materialistic, practical or stable place. It's interesting. Elements are definitely swapped in that area. Time to ground. Time to ground. Okay. So let's take a look. See, I just passed it too. I was like, there it is. Okay. Time to ground. We all experience moments in our lives when we feel confused, unfocused, and surrounded by chaos and turmoil. These moments are often unavoidable and are the lessons these moments can impart. But how you respond to them is a choice only you can make. Take a deep breath and a moment to pause and reconnect with Gaia and nature. Seek the silence of the void within, whilst your spirit spirals downward to anchor itself like an ancient tree root in the cleansing embrace of the earth beneath you. So it's pretty much saying, like, even though the world is going crazy, even though your finances may be on point, maybe need improvement, it don't change how you react to it. It doesn't change how, nothing changes unless you react to it in a sense of panic and you react in a sense of bliss and happiness. Nothing, really what I mean is that the situation is happening. It's up to you to face the situation in the way you choose. You can either choose to panic with it and go crazy, or you can ground yourself, appreciate where you are, and do the best that you can. Because ultimately, the best you can do is the best you can do. You can't go and you can't do any more than that. You can't push any further. And to expect of yourself to do any further, it's not being fair to yourself, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say is the clearest, the best way I can say it, because I know a couple times I just said that sounded crazy. Right now, you guys are going through some financial stuff going on in your lives. All right, or dealing with some things where where you guys may be having turmoil. You guys may not be seeing eye to eye, right? You guys are not in a balanced place where you guys feel like you can't take control, but you take control by not letting the situation dictate your mood, by not letting your situation dictate how you guys spend time with each other. You're gonna always have financial issues. You're gonna always have, family issues. You're always gonna have, moral issues or something in regards to something outside of your relationship. But that's the outside of your relationship, right? You're always going to have political issues. You're always going to have, weather issues. But does the weather dictate how you're going to feel today? Or are you going to say, hey, it's raining, but that is outside of me, and that has nothing to do with me. And it's not going to affect me because I'm going to continue to do the best that I can with what I've got. Right? Right? And I know some people in the comments were like, yeah, but if it rains and, you got to drive differently, you got to do different. Yeah, but they're still doing the best that you can. It's always still doing the best that you can, and knowing you're doing the best that you can, and still keeping yourself in a place where you can still stabilize yourself. Because at no point, at nowhere in this reading does it say that your life is going to crumble because you guys can't get your finances up, down, whatever. It's like the money, the lifestyle that you guys live can only be helped if you do the best that you can. It's not going to help if the relationship has arguments and problems with that, right? It makes sense if both of you guys are not seeing eye to eye, you guys are not working together, therefore you guys can't do the best that you guys can because you guys are not working together as a team, which is fair enough. But if you guys are doing the best that you can and you're doing all that you can, don't let the finances creep up in your relationship despite how well how hard you're working. Because if you're doing the best that you can right now, then that's it. You don't, that situation doesn't deserve to take, your happiness or take the feeling that you have with your partner in the most intimate times that money has nothing to do with. You know what I mean?